Good evening. My name is Cordelia Troublefield. I am the project manager from Griffin and Strong, who is leading, helping with the Gwinnett County, Georgia 2025 disparity study. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join this meeting. We will be having a brief informational meeting, and then we will switch over to our public hearing session, which is where we will be taking any comments from you guys. So if you can just please bear with me as I do go over this brief presentation, just to give you some information about this disparity study and how you all can participate, and then we'll allow you all to have a couple of questions, but not too many, because I do want to make sure that we do give enough time for everyone to speak who would like to speak. Okay. So to start off, a little bit about Griffin and Strong. We are a public policy consulting and law firm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. We specialize in procurement research, training and supply diversity consulting, contract compliance, and program development. Out of this field that we do work in, we are one of the most qualified firms inside of this industry. We have 7 Juris Doctorates, 2 PhDs in economics, a PhD in social psychology, and a PhD in social anthropology. So what is a disparity study, you may ask? A disparity study, it is an objective research tool. It was created outside of the court system. It helps determine whether there are disparities in a governmental agency's procurement activities with certain race, ethnic, and gender groups in the various industry categories. It further determines whether those disparities are statistically significant and likely caused by the race and gender status of firm owners. These studies measure disparities between the utilization and availability for race, gender, and ethnic groups. Disparity studies, they also utilize the acquisition of anecdotal evidence while examining current policy procedures and practices in a law review. The findings of the disparity study may result in recommendations by the study team to remedy any disparities if found. The recommendations, they are intended to be implemented as policy if they are accepted by the county. So why do we do disparity studies? Again, as I did state, the disparity studies, they are a creation of the courts, based off of this preceding case, the city of Richmond versus Croson back in 1989. This is where disparity studies were birthed from. They basically provide a factual basis for any contracting programs that are intended to help with the equitable marketplace inside of whatever the jurisdiction that you may reside in. And then another case that kind of set the precedent for disparity studies is the Adirond case versus Pena. Disparity studies, they provide strict scrutiny for race-based programs and intermediate scrutiny for gender-based programs. What disparity studies basically say is that in order for a governmental agency to have a certain program, there must be a factual basis found in the evidence. And also the methodology is dictated by case law. The courts basically told us, what to do, but not necessarily how to do it. And also disparity studies, they allow the programs to be narrowly tailored for a remedy. So there is no inclusion or exclusion going on within the marketplace. So yes, the objective for this study is to determine whether there is the existence of discrimination and barriers for minority and women-owned businesses, disadvantaged businesses, people with disabilities who own businesses, small businesses, and veteran-owned businesses, and businesses who are owned by members of the LGBTQ+ community. So as I did state before, the courts did let us know, what to do in a disparity study, what we are supposed to be finding, but it did not provide us with a methodology of how we are supposed to arrive at that conclusion. This is the disparity study process that Griffin and Strong has. This process follows about a year worth of duration of progress. There's a lot of different moving pieces, which is why the disparity study takes, long. And we also have a very robust methodology. We first start off by looking at the law of the land, looking at those controlling cases inside of the jurisdiction that the governmental agency falls into. We also then do a deep dive into the policies and procedures that the county does have. We also do follow up with policy interviews with staff members to ensure that the practices and procedures that they are following are in compliance with the policies in hand. And when I say policies, these are policies that are in relation to procurement practices, in relations to those study groups that I didn't mention for minority and women-owned businesses and any other certified businesses, just to make sure that these policies that they have in place that they are in compliance. And then we then assess the data from the county. We collect and we clean that data. We then do a relevant market analysis, which is just to analyze the spend where the county has spent most of their dollars. Most of the dollars, the threshold that we're usually looking at is a 75% threshold. So seeing exactly where the county has been spending most of their dollars. Utilization and the threshold analysis. The utilization analysis, again, is to see where the county has been spending those dollars. And then the threshold analysis is to see the breakdown of the contract sizes. Availability analysis. This is just to see those ready, willing, and able firms that are within the marketplace or that are within that relevant market. And then a disparity analysis is just a simple equation that we do comparing the utilization and the availability analysis together. We also do a private sector analysis, which is just essentially just looking outside of race and gender. What are the other controlling factors that could basically determine or infer if there is some type of discrimination going on there? So that's looking at the age of the firm owner, the size of the firm, experience, other outside controlling factors outside of race and gender. Then the anecdotal evidence collection and analysis, which is what this meeting is for. We just basically take the time to hear from the public, especially the Gwinnett County business marketplace business owners, because this study is intended to help mitigate any types of discriminations or any types of issues or concerns that are going on within the Gwinnett County procurement process. So it's very significant, very important to us that we do hear from firms during this time. So once we hear from you all, we then collect all of that evidence and then we do analyze that. Now, all of these analyses, we then take all of the findings that we find out of each analysis, and then we compile it all together into a final report, and then we also give the county some recommendations, either race gender neutral or race gender conscious, just based on those very significant findings that we do find throughout the duration of the study. So the community engagement anecdotal evidence, as I did state, that it is very important to us that we hear from firms within the business area. We first start off by hosting informational meetings. We had informational meetings maybe a couple of months ago that basically just does exactly what I'm doing right now, but more in a very much longer presentation. This one is very brief. We do have those recordings available online through our study website, which I will be sharing momentarily. But the informational meetings, they just give you the information about this disparity study and how you all can participate over time. We also do offer anecdotal interviews, which are one-on-one interviews that we do have with business owners, just figuring out their experiences and perspectives on attempting to do business or doing business with the county. We also do host focus groups, which are just like anecdotal interviews, but more so in an intimate group session setting. We have these interviews, these group sessions at the end of our anecdotal process because we do like to talk about the different things that we pick up over time. So that's essentially our purpose for the focus groups, to get more information about those things that we do pick up. We also conduct some interviews with business, civic, and trade organizations. So these can be your grassroots organizations like the NAACP or other community-centered organizations that are hands-on with community members. And then we also do organizational interviews with those such as construction or trade organizations, or even the Chamber of Commerce, those organizations who are hands-on with the business community, just to get their perspectives on how they feel about the marketplace. Um, and then we also do launch a survey, which is now live, and I will be sharing that link with you guys. But the survey of business owners, we do launch that into the Gwinnett County public for firm owners to fill out, to basically help us analyze and collect those trends that we are seeking to find. And then public hearings, which is what you all are a part of today, which is a public forum that we like to host to give firm owners to come on this platform and to speak. And then if any of these different methods do not make you feel comfortable, we also do have a designated study email and a website in which firms are able to submit any comments. So again, how can you be involved? I did just share those different methods that we have had in progress over the duration of this disparity study. But other ways in how you can be involved is being vocal. We do ask tonight. I know that we don't have that many on the call, but we still are hoping that we can make this conversation very fruitful. And the way that we can do that is if we're having all of you participate. So we do ask that you be vocal and you participate by completing a survey, or participating in an interview or a focus group session if you are contacted, and then also attending a public hearing. And then another way in which you can keep up with the study is to go to our website, which I am sharing right now on the screen, the Gwinnett County Disparity Studies.com. That's our study website. And then we have an email, the Gwinnett County Study at gspclaw.com. I did see a hand raise, and I do just want to allow questions to happen at the end of the presentation. So then we can have a quick transition over into the public hearing session right after. And then I just want to highlight again the survey of business owners. We do have that live. If you can, just please take the time to either go to this link or just take a picture of this QR code to fill the survey out later. It is a 10 to 15-minute survey. However, once you complete it, you are entered into a raffle to win a $100 gift card. So I do know that people do love free money. So I hope that you all will take the time to fill out the survey. And then one last thing before we hop over into a quick session, if there's any questions, this is our projected timeline. We did start in the spring. We got our initiation phase. And right now, during this fall season, as we're wrapping up the fall season, we have launched the survey. We're completing anecdotal interviews. We're hosting these public hearings. This is our last session tonight. We had one last week. And then we are preparing our data analyses. We're forming that foundation so we can begin our data analysis. And then we are beginning our anecdotal and private sector analyses. And then between next month And then early of next year during the winter, we will be conducting focus groups, completing that anecdotal and private sector analysis, and also completing the data analyses, and then having our findings and recommendations process. And then hopefully by the spring, we will wrap it all up by compiling everything into that draft report and finalizing it with the county, and then having those county presentations. And that is all that I have for our quick informational meeting session. I am taking the time right now to have a couple of questions, but I do also want to let everyone know that we did have our informational meetings a couple of months ago that gives a very much more detailed presentation. So if you all have any questions that we do not cover here, because again, I didn't want to say that I want to allow everyone to have the time to speak. So please feel free to go to the website and look at those recordings. Those YouTube links are inside of the website. So do I have any questions before we hop over into the public hearing session? No?
Hi, good evening.
Yes.
My name is Buki Fafuiji. I was curious, have you, based on, so if it sounds like you're still like in the data gathering stage, and you're still kind of like working on, what items you need, what data you need. So I had a couple questions. How much engagement have you had so far with like business owners? So do you have like a kind of like a number you're shooting for to make your analysis relevant, or what do you say, statistically significant? Right? So are you getting that number of business owners involved in the disparity study? And have you kind of like gotten to a point where you've shared anything with the county as of now, or that is still something in your timeline, in your project timeline? So I was just curious and I wanted to, get a feel for that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for your question. So, in terms of the engagement that we are having with the public, we don't have a set number of how many firms we would like to hear from. We do have a set number regarding, we do have a couple of focus group sessions, and there is an ideal sample size that we would like to hear from. Also with our anecdotal interviews, we have like 30 that we are doing that follow through our randomized process, but that does not limit the number of interviews that we take. If there is a firm that would like to be interviewed that is not a part of that process in which they are contacted, then we still are allowing firms to get in contact with us. We don't have a certain set limit of people that we are wanting to hear from. The more information that we're hearing from firms, the better. Our disparity study, it really is data driven, especially looking at the numbers. But what makes the what makes the anecdotal process very special is that the stories that we hear from firms, that we hear from organizations, or the responses that we collect in the survey, it allows us to put a story to those numbers that we're seeing through our data analysis, through our quantitative analyses. So that's why it's really great that we do here, and that we are making sure that we're taking the different measures that I did go into detail about in order for us to hear from the community. Because again, the what we hear, the stories that we all hear from you guys, that helps us put a story to the numbers that we do see in the data. And in terms of your second question, I believe that you did ask about the updates inside of with the county. So we do provide the county with updates about what's going on a monthly basis. But however, in terms of releasing it out to the public, that will be determined by the county at the end of the disparity study.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, no problem. Are there any other questions? No? Okay. So again, as I stated before, we do
Hi,
have,
can you hear me?
yes, yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good, good, good. I was wondering one question with regards to um disadvantaged businesses and small business enterprises with regards to professional services. Okay, will they be any kind of percentages? Okay, uh, or are you looking at, or the county looking at uh, uh, any kind of mandates similar to what the city of Atlanta with regards to professional services?
Okay, yes. So in return, are you referencing goal setting is that the city of Atlanta follows?
Right, the model that the city of Atlanta has. Yes.
Yes, sir. So in terms of the policies and procedures, the policy review that we do, all of those policies that the county has already set in stone, such as if there are goal setting policies that they do have, that is looked into and is observed and analyzed through our policy review. Now, in
Uh,
terms of what other jurisdictions are doing, we do look at in terms of when we're doing the recommendations process at the end, we do sometimes do look at what other jurisdictions are doing that may be a good example for the county to follow. So we do take into consideration what other jurisdictions, even those that are surrounding what they are doing as well, when we're thinking about our recommendations that we give the county at the end. Now, if there are certain requirements or policies that you know of with other jurisdictions that you've worked with that you would
right.
like to see, we can talk about that during this public hearing session. If there are some recommendations that you would like us to consider, please feel free to bring that up during our public hearing session, because that is what this platform is about. It's about speaking about your perspectives on what you would
Mm,
like to see the county to do, and also speaking about your experiences as well.
okay. Yeah, because what I find out in this space over the last 20 to 30 years is that um, say for in engineering and I'm talking about large contracts where you're talking about multi-million dollar contract, okay, requiring that you have your large carriers partner, okay, with DBEs and MBEs, okay, uh, so that we can be learn number one, okay, the craft. Number two is okay, that they uh, provides provides some opportunities for us to participate, because that's not what's happening sometimes in these contracts. Okay. For an example, if you're going to do a large engineer project, okay, and you have a large engineer firm, okay, that engineer firm, okay, does not contact the small businesses, okay, that they can partner with that's local in the community, and that's not right. Does that
Yes,
make sense?
yes, sir. It makes sense.
Okay.
It makes sense. Thank you so much for your comment, Mr. Brown. Yeah, we are taking that into
Mm.
consideration. Thank you so much for speaking, which is a great segue into the public hearing session. So I do just want to show these rules for the forum session. We do have some certain expectations that we like to follow for these sessions. So that was a great hop in, great right into the public hearing session. So the purpose, as I did state, is to hear candid testimony about your experiences, both positive and negative, either doing business or attempting to do business with Gwinnett County. Everything said during this hearing will be available for public record, but in our final report, we will not publish the names, business names, or other affiliations of individuals who give testimony. We are not soliciting questions, but commentary only during this part of the meeting. Additionally, we will not be responding to questions or commentary other than to try to gain additional clarity to your comments. When providing comments, please begin by stating your name and business name clearly for the record before beginning your testimony. I also do want to state that since we're on this virtual platform, to keep everything organized, it would be great if people could raise their hand. There's a little emoji that Zoom allows you to pick at the top of your screen or in your mobile device where it allows you to raise your hand. So that is the method that I would like to follow today to make sure that we stay in an orderly fashion. So if anyone would like to start off the conversation to piggyback off of what Mr. Brown has already stated, please feel free to raise your hand at this time. Or to speak about anything in relations to the purpose of the meeting, please feel free to raise your hand at this time, and I will stop sharing.
Hi, my name is Pam Armistead. Oh, I'm supposed to raise my hand.
Yeah, it's okay. You started talking. But go ahead, Miss Pam.
Okay. So yeah, what Mr. Brown said was very profound because I remember going to a you know, when they do the RFQs and they have you do the meeting, all the vendors come together or the people who are thinking about bidding on a contract. And it was just amazing to me that none of those people, majority of those people, were not even local for Gwinnett County. They were in, you know, like Savannah, and they were really big companies that were bidding on that. And it was like, it was very intimidating, especially when you want to compete, but they had all this additional things. Um, and I know Gwinnett County, you know, wasn't at the time wasn't considering like you know small businesses from Gwinnett County. I guess it just really didn't make a difference to them. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Miss Pam. And if you don't mind, could you state your full name and your business name? And if you're
Um, yeah.
certified, what's your certification?
Okay. So my name is Pamela Armistead. The name of my company is Stone Haven Realty. I'm local here in Gwinnett County, and I am a OSB, woman's yeah, woman's own business.
Thank you so much, Miss Pam.
Thank you.
Comment. Ms. Pace, you have your hand raised.
Hey, good evening. My name is Andrea Pace, and I am the owner of 58 Logistics. And to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Brown and the other lady just was talking about, I just kind of, my concern is really um, with the political changes that are about to happen, those of us that are already, that are small businesses, and of course, a lot of these rules were put in place because a lot of us were treated unfair as far as WOSB and DBEs and minority-owned business owners. With so say things such as those things may be being taken away from us or us not being able to um, have a fair shot because we have those certifications. Are those any concerns that we have to worry about that you know of?
So I can say that because of the work that we do here at the firm, we are following behind the news and the current events of, of the election, and then
Right,
of course of the different court rulings that have came out, especially with the case last year with the affirmative action
right.
inside of the education system. So we're following along those cases very, very closely. But we are saying right now that, of course, we've been here before as a nation. So of course we of course, that's something that we are worried or concerned about, but, of course, we are still hoping that, we can still continue to fight the good fight. But it is important, of course, for us to make sure that we are following along on these cases, because that is something that we also are concerned about. But again, the work that we're doing is still not done, and we still think that this is even the time even more for us to still be doing conducting these disparity studies and putting together these airtight programs. So these certain concerns that people are having, that they aren't um that this isn't coming like a bigger issue. But that I can say that we are following behind those cases very, very closely.
Okay, thank you so much. And I am WOSB certified, DBE certified, MBE, as well as SLBE certified. So it's a big concern. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there anyone else who would like to add to the conversation?
Yes, hello. I don't know how to raise my hand, but I'll just speak. My name is Ms. Dawson. I'm the owner of Dawson's Management, and we have all of the certification, including federal 8A Hub Zone Woman on Small Business, and I live in Gwinnett County. And I first found out about contracts in Gwinnett County. I was attending Goldman Sachs out in Babson College, and there was an Asian guy in my class that told me that he had a $700,000 contract in Gwinnett County, but he lived in another state. I'm like, what? And he said he had several. And that's when I started going to like the Gwinnett County events and stuff. And then we found out that there were no set asides for us up here. So I'm like, wow. So I'm able to get contracts in the federal space, but I still haven't been able to get it in my own backyard with my tax dollars. So go figure. So I'm hoping that this disparity study works. We participated in one in Henry County with you all a few years back. So what are you hoping to achieve? Because Gwinnett County does not have to, they don't have to take your information and do anything with it. So what are you hoping for?
Yeah, I can say that right now we're just hoping for, because of this is the county's first disparity study, and we are noticing even in other interviews that we've been having with organizations, we are noticing that Gwinnett County has been making certain changes to make sure that they are appealing to the firms that are within its marketplace. And that is very evident, especially with the county choosing to do this disparity study, very first disparity study. So we are very hopeful that there would be some changes that will be made coming out of this disparity study. Again, we are contracted by the county to do the disparity study, so we can't necessarily enforce them, of course, to make any of the changes. But I can say, in my experience being here at the firm, we haven't had a client that, doesn't implement some of the recommendations that we do give. So we are very hopeful and positive that the county will push forward in making sure that they are appealing, and they are making sure that they are working and engaging with the local business community. So I can say that I'm very hopeful to see that there will be changes coming out of this disparity study.
And I would also add that because I've been around for a few days, that this disparity study is very vital to small businesses, okay? In our area. And for those businesses, okay, that are reaching out to county government to solicit opportunities, okay? It it's important that you talk to your board members, okay, to encourage them, okay, to put some kind of limits, okay, on participation, okay, because that this is how the Atlanta model has been so successful, because they put they put mandates, okay, that the big boys, okay, had to bring in the little boys, us at that time, okay, who's trying to get a public sector contract so that we could learn the craft. And that was the design of what Maynard Jackson was trying to do when we started this program way back 30 years ago. So this model, okay, has been a model that a lot of the states are starting to look at around the country as being a viable alternative. Houston has looked at it. Dallas is looking at it. Okay, and so and the federal government has even looked at it. Okay, so we just need to encourage our leaders. Okay, uh, to pay attention to how how they construct this program. Okay, for the county, so that small businesses, okay, can number one thrive in the community. Okay, and create, okay, opportunities, okay, for employment, okay, and for economic growth. This is why this program is so vital, that they bring back this fact finding to our leaders, to our political leaders, to tell them, okay, this is what we found out, okay, and what we have right now is everything is going outside of Gwinnett County, and probably outside of the state of Georgia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown, for those comments that you just gave. Those were very profound words that you just spoke. And again, I do want to say, just piggybacking off of what he just said, it really is up to the stakeholders inside of Gwinnett County who it's important to you all that you all do stay on to those that are in office, to make sure that they do stay on this disparity study and stay on, the recommendations that we do give and enforce those recommendations and implement them. So it really is important that we hear from you guys, and also that at the end of this disparity study that you push for the change that you all need to see. So thank you again, Mr. Brown. Do we have anyone else who hasn't spoken at this time yet that would like to add to the conversation? There have been some really good points that have been made so far. I've heard about the experiences of there being a lot of firms that are outside of Gwinnett County getting a lot of work. I've heard about there's no set-asides in Gwinnett County, and there's no really opportunities for smaller businesses to grow. There's a lot of good things that we've talked about so far. So is there anything that anyone would like to add to the conversation, or would like to bring up any of their own personal experiences that they would like to talk about? Mr. Brown also talks about a model that he likes inside of the city of Atlanta in terms of goal setting. So are there other recommendations that any of you all would have or any suggestions that you would all like to see Gwinnett County model? Is there anything that anyone would like to add to that conversation? Again, the floor is open to everyone on this call. So I want to make sure that we do hear from everyone, at least once.
Oh, okay. This is Pam Armstead again. So Mayor Maynard Jackson, when he was the mayor of Atlanta, Mr. Brown is correct. He was the one that, even though at City of Atlanta back in the 70s or whatever was majority Black, there was no opportunities there. And when he put policies into place, then you saw more opportunities for small businesses to be able to do work in this, in the city of Atlanta. So it does need to be a policy change politically, and that would definitely have to come from from who the powers that be. But I don't know how we're going to influence that. We are all, from Gwinnett County. I've been here for over 20 years. My business has been in Gwinnett County for over 15 years. So, I feel that Gwinnett County should support their businesses. We do, pay for our business licenses and purchase, items from the local businesses here. I just think that as a county, they need to support their businesses.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pam.
And we want them to tell the truth. Don't have like these open when there's an RFP out and then you have like a industry day and you have us to come in just to put our name and stuff on that list, as if the people are gonna reach out to us for that DBE participation. To me, don't just try to use us, you know what I mean? Like, if you could just get awarded some of these contracts. We've been successful in the federal space and it has been a game changer for our company. And I'm just so blessed. And one of the things when you do get contracts, make sure you look back and try to help other small businesses. So I look at it, we have to create our own ecosystem, whether or not Gwinnett County does it or not. At some point, we have to take just responsibility for, am I my brother's keeper? Yes. So while we wait for Gwinnett County, let's be intentional about helping someone else along, another small business. So I try to be intentional about that while we wait for change.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dawson. Those were also very powerful words. Ms. Dawson, I don't think I caught your business name. Can you please tell me your business name again?
Is Dawson's Management.
Dawson's Management.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I do have a clarifying question, Ms. Dawson, just based off of what you said about the being put on side of bids and RFPs. Are you referring to primes being putting firms on RFPs for sub work and they're not really following up, or they're not really being intentional about it? Can you clarify that for me?
Yes, so you'll come in, you'll sign your name, and they're awarded these contracts as the prime, and they're supposed to have a certain amount of minority participation. And they may use you to write the contract, but once it's awarded, you're not the sub on that.
And you're saying that they basically write you in, but they don't follow up.
Correct. Like if they win the contract, they've won it now. They don't necessarily have to
They don't
keep you.
necessarily have to have you on. You're not on there. Okay? That's what she's saying. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I do too. I just wanted to make sure that I clarify it correctly.
Just put bait and switch. Put that in your
Switch.
synopsis. Bait and switch. The hooly magooly.
This is all good stuff. I see a comment from Ms. Evans saying, I saw a list of attendees for an RFP meeting that was inaccurate. Quote unquote attendees that were not present were placed on a list. That was strange to me. That's a very good point, Ms. Evans. Do you have anything you would like to add to that, Ms. Evans, on the record, or would you just like to stay in the chat?
Not much that I wanted to add. It was just strange to me. I thought that attendees should actually attend the actual meetings if they were going to be placed on that list. So it just struck me as strange.
I can kind of elaborate on that one. Some of those meetings are mandatory. So if they didn't show up, someone wrote their name in. So that way they could still go after the RFP, even though they weren't present, someone signed their name. Does that make sense, Leah?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Ms. Evans, if you don't mind, can you state, or you can write it in the chat, your business name and your certifications?
Sure. The business name is New Provisions Business Solution. I can write it in the chat. And my certification, woman-owned business certification, and I also have WeBank.
Thank you so much for your input. Thank you all so much who have spoken so far. Is there anyone else that would like to add to the conversation?
Hi, this is Sherry Robinson with Action Strategies. I have all the certifications except for an 8A, both on federal and commercial side, including DOT, NMSDC, WeBank, et cetera. I just wanted to speak up and concur with everything that has been said, because I've experienced pretty much every comment here. The only thing I'd like to add to that, when we were talking about I've even been approached from primes to bid on the work as part of the contract that was previously stated, win the contract, but there is no accountability to track, which is what I'm hearing the other colleagues on the phone, that once the contract is received, there's nothing to hold the prime accountable for making sure that the individuals that the subs that they put, proposed subs that they put on those contracts actually are given that work. And I have written countless proposals as a sub, only never to hear back from them. And that's a problem not only at city, county, and federal level that hasn't been addressed over the years.
Thank you so much, Ms. Robinson. Can you state your business for me one more time?
It's AC10 Strategies. It's pronounced action, but it's AC10 Strategies.
Yeah, I caught it. I caught it. That's dope. I like that. Ms. Evans also added that she's also seen a request to list subcontracts after submission of the proposal. That's also strange. So just one quick question. Do primes, do they follow good faith efforts with these contracts? Is that something that you all have noticed, that do they follow good faith efforts, or that's just something that primes essentially just don't follow? I do hear about, firms just being written in on proposals, but does anyone have any experiences of, being called to be put on a contract but did not receive a response? Has there been any instances of that?
That was kind of what I was describing. I've been sought out, asked to provide a proposal, put on the contract, because on federal contracts, it was a requirement to have this sub in order for them to win the contract. And it was it was basically a re-award where they have had the award for like 15 years. And then the federal government came in and required them to have a sub for a specific sub for the type of work that I provide, services I provide. Had me write it, was not happy, which was articulated to me that this requirement was there, but had me provide the quote, and then they re-won the award, and I never was given the work. And so that's why I said that the buyers never go back to track whether or not there was good faith effort for those that they have added to the contract to win the work. They basically win the work, and then it's all said and done. But I did want to add one other thing to my comment that I've experienced with when I go to these networking opportunities with the buyers. And I basically talk about, I'm an MBE, et cetera. And more often than not, I am trying to identify stakeholders in procurement to go and develop relationships with, to pitch my services. And I'm being told, well, you need to contact our affirmative action office or something of that nature. So it's not very, they are not very approachable and welcoming, even on the procurement side in a lot of these cases. And that's been at the city, county, and state level.
So even with Gwinnett County, you've been to events like this, and the staff members or the buyers, they basically just shut you down.
Well, they basically try to say, well, you're an MBA, you need to contact our affirmative action office. And I'm like, well, that's not why I'm here.
So what I'm hearing is basically, and I've been all over the United States talking about MBE, DBE participation. And what I find out in every area of this country, okay, that only Georgia specifically Atlanta, puts a mandate, okay, on requirements for participation for public contracts. You have the city of Atlanta outlines a percentage of what those they have. The bid has to have participation with MBE and DBE. Okay, Chicago don't do it, Philly don't do it, New York don't do it. So it's a political. It's political. Everybody, okay. And otherwise, we're gonna still sit back here and watch this bait and switch that goes on. Okay, when we go up and try to pitch our deal, and we got to have our politicians, okay, understand that procurement has got to be the enforcer. Okay. Because if they're not enforcing, okay, this program for participation, then we never are going to get a seat at the table, like we should, and we ought to. Okay, Gwinnett as a county is a fast-growing county, but I will bet you that most of there are quite a few contracts in Gwinnett that are outsourced out of state, and very few are within the county itself that are providing services to the county. And this is what the problem is. Okay, this is the problem for us. Okay, as small business owners. Okay, so this program is designed for them to take back, okay, to our politicians, okay, to share with them what we see as a opportunity for us, okay. Number one, number two, a challenge for them, okay, to make some changes in their procurement practices, okay, so that we could get a equitable, okay, opportunity to do business, okay, in our community. And I think it's a fair proposition, but we got to have our politicians, okay, to enforce it through procurement practices.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. You've been making a lot of profound statements in this call that I'm sure a lot of people agree with. Thank you so much for all of your insights and your feedback. Is there anyone else who would like to add to the conversation that hasn't had a chance to speak just quite yet?
Want to thank you all for having this session and for doing the disparity study. I'm Cheryl Renee Moses with the Gwinnett County Black Chamber of Commerce and delighted to be here with you and those who are on this session.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moses, for joining in. We do have a few minutes left on the call, and there are still a number of people who have not spoken quite yet. So is there anyone who would like to add to the conversation that has not spoken?
Well, I hope that this disparity study will not just be an initiative of gathering a bit of information and nothing happens beyond the gathering of the information. My question would be, once you produce the report, is that the end of it? Are you all, is there some plans for once the report is generated that there will be some action behind it, or is this just a study?
Yes, ma'am. So Griffin and Strong, we were contracted to do this disparity study for the county. So, we're taking the process of, collecting the data, analyzing it, and then we're going to compile a study full of recommendations and findings The recommendations are going to be based off of those significant findings that we do find, that we have observed throughout the duration of the study. Now, in terms of establishing and implementing any of those recommendations that we do give the county, that's extremely up to the county and of course the stakeholders and the constituents inside of the county. There have been a few points that have been made on this call about it really is up to the stakeholders inside of the communities to make sure that you're holding your political leaders that are in office accountable, because it is up to them to make sure that they are enforcing and supporting the businesses and making sure that the policies are matching and supporting the business marketplace. So it is essentially a study, but we are hopeful that the county will take the action. And of course, we are encouraging stakeholders to make sure that they hold the county responsible, to make sure that once the county gets the study and they see these recommendations, that they implement them.
Okay, are there Gwinnett County stakeholders in this meeting this evening?
So you all are essentially the stakeholders, because you all live inside of Gwinnett County. So stakeholders, I mean by those community members, business owners,
I
community
got you,
leaders.
but I'm
Yes, ma'am.
speaking of those who can make decisions. Are there any of those folks, like county commissioners? Are any of them on this session?
So unfortunately, the public hearing sessions, we design our public hearing sessions just strictly for the public to come on the call and solicit their comments. Though we do, of course, provide the county and everything with the material to come on the call. However, we just like to hear transparency from the public. And we know sometimes that can kind of make some people feel uneasy and uncomfortable not being able to share their stories. So right now, these sessions, they're geared towards the public and making sure that we're hearing your stories, hearing your feedback, so then we can translate that into our findings and give that to the county.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any other, is there any other feedback that anyone would like to give? Again, we're not really answering questions. We just really want to make sure that we're hearing from business owners, hearing those experiences. Mr. Kim, I did see your comment. I have been told repeatedly that Gwinnett County is focusing on its diversity, equity, and inclusion and working with its vendors. Does Gwinnett County procurement have any current policies that proactively engage small businesses or minority business vendors similar to other jurisdictions? Right now, off the top of my head, I don't want to misspeak. But I know there are policy experts. They have been taking the time to review the Gwinnett County policies and procedures that are in place. As of right now, I do not think so. But we are, of course, in the works of the county is in the works of ensuring that they are coming up with policies that are proactively engaging small businesses. And this is the purpose of the disparity study, is to ensure that what we are recommending or that what we are recommending will be implemented as policy to make sure that the county is serving you all.
Well, I definitely, from my organization, we would like to thank you all for the study.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cheryl. Moses. Is there?
Good afternoon. I would like to speak and say something.
Yes, sir.
This is Alan Carter with Carter Construction Partners, MBE, City of Atlanta, Fulton County, Clayton County, a few others. But I wanted to just say that, the disparity study, they do yield results. And I say that because I know, I think it was the city of Augusta think it's the city of Augusta, I believe. They did a disparity study. I'm not sure how long it took before they had a minority participation goals set out for their contracts, but they recently just got it in Augusta. And I was reached out to, and I guess I'm not sure how they got my information, but they knew that I guess I was on a minority list somewhere, uh, and they were able to certify me, which resulted. I talked to someone in the office, and it resulted. They kind of gave me a little history and background, and their program, which it just launched this year. It resulted from a study like this, a disparity study. So I am hopeful that Gwinnett County will, implement this into how contracts are procured. Myself, as a small business owner, just made 3 years. I've seen, the benefits, just in my own business, with walking into a RFP meeting and there being a requirement, and there's been a interest in you and in your company, and a little bit of the heavy lifting of you having to try to push your company, and give me a chance type, hey, we can do this, and kind of erasing and kind of removing some of that, and there being a interest in your company to perform services. And I've seen the difference walking into a RFP meeting where there's no requirement versus when there is a requirement. And when there's a requirement, it gives an opportunity to build relationship. You get a chance to get a fair shake on a opportunity, and pitching your services, and being able to obtain that contract. Was a scenario I had where I was able to obtain a contract, because there was a requirement on there, and not just because there were a requirement. I mean, we were the right ones for the job. I mean, we had the expertise. We know what we're doing. We know how to make it happen. But in some cases, you might not even get a chance to display, your talents and your skills and what you can do. And but so relationship building. And then also, I saw, a benefit of being able to, secure other opportunities with that particular prime, or, you know, where there wasn't a requirement, but because they saw, you know, how you guys, how we did business, or how you do business, and there's a relationship there for other contracts that don't have a requirement on them. It's also a opportunity to build the company, my company. It was an opportunity for me to build my company's resume as well, going in as a sub where we could perform as a prime, but because of some of the requirements, we might not be per se ready to take it on just from a business standpoint. Not that we couldn't perform and do the work, but there are other requirements in there that we're working our way up to eventually become the prime of a contract like that. So it's huge, because there's a lot of opportunities and RFPs out there that do require, if you want to do schoolwork. We're a construction company. They want you to list, hey, tell me 3 schools where you performed work. And if you don't have that experience, I don't care what you did on a job. You could, for me being a construction company, we could have painted on a job, we could have did the cleaning, we could have just did the doors. It doesn't matter. I still have a
That on your
school.
resume.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got that on your resume.
Yeah, you got it on your resume, and it helps to build your resume, and being able to take on either even bigger opportunities.
And this really was what Maynard Jackson what vision was in instituting this program years ago was was to give uh, local businesses, minority businesses, the opportunity okay to rub elbows with the big boys so that you could learn and get these kind of things on your resume so that you could gain greater knowledge, greater experiences for more opportunities. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And
Yeah.
I'll just say this, just kind of concluding what I'm saying. The first meeting that I joined in this study, I took pause and really kind of started thinking about some of the heroes in my industry, in the construction industry. Uh, all of them, all of them have benefited and have been able to become, as successful as they are because of those requirements.
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
of them. All
Without
of
a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah. Hartsfield Airport was built on that program. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carter, for your feedback, and thank you so much for letting me know about the benefits that you've seen that's came out of the disparity studies that have been conducted, especially the one in Augusta that you have benefited from. So thank you so much for adding to the conversation. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? We are at 7:11 p.m. So is there anyone that would like to still add to the conversation that have not spoken just quite yet? I don't want to keep everyone too much longer. So maybe within the next 5 minutes, if there's anyone else that would like to add to the conversation, it would be great if we could get your comments that has not spoken.
Well, I have spoken, but I do want to just drop this nugget that in Gwinnett County, we have a huge number of African American Black businesses who start up. But statistics show that within 18 months, they're out of business.
Yeah.
And so, with that being the case, we know that there is a huge disparity in the coming around, checking out businesses, giving out citations for, various things. This is done against African American and Black owned businesses. That's just a given. And we need to look at how to change that and how the powers that be are doing that type of policing, if you will, when it comes down to Black businesses. That should not be the case. African Americans are the majority of Gwinnett County. And if you look at the statistics of the longevity of our businesses, it's much less than all other cultures. So that in itself speaks volumes. Another thing, and I'll leave with this. When you go into a white business that is in Gwinnett County, they have a very diverse customer base. They have whites, Hispanics, Indians, Latina. All of these folks are their customer base. You go in to Indian establishments, businesses, they have a very diverse customer base. Whites, Hispanics, Blacks, you name it. Same for Indian, same for Asian. But when you go to a Black business, 99.9% of their customer base is Black. And that is us participating in white supremacy and racism and acting as if that's the norm. That should not be the norm. Black businesses should have just a diverse customer base as all other non-Black businesses. And that's something that definitely has to be addressed in the disparity study, because this information comes from the Federal Reserve Bank. They did a study that showed the three major disadvantages, the major challenges that Black-owned businesses have. And the number two is diversity in customer base. And so that not only comes from the county, but it comes from us educating our community and getting us to get beyond the unconscious biases that we have when it comes to shopping. I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Moses. And Ms. Moses, I'll be in contact with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Is there anyone else that has anything that would like to add to the conversation before we wrap up?
Hi, this is Michelle Reynolds, and I'm sorry I've been here intermittently because I had to pick up my daughter, but I do want to kind of understand what is the hopes to get from this platform, from this initiative? Is it to give folks like us additional work? I mean, what is the whole premises around this initiative?
Right. So this disparity study is essentially was put in place, the county, they contracted Griffin and Strong to do this disparity study to look at their utilization and comparing it to the availability of certain firms that fall underneath certain categories. And essentially the purpose of this disparity study is to help the county form a better program that essentially helps alleviate any of the disparities that are found amongst minority, women, disadvantaged, small, disability-owned, veteran-owned, LGBTQ-owned businesses. So essentially, this disparity study will help the county implement and establish their program to make sure that the business marketplace in terms of procurement, making sure that that environment is equitable for all businesses to be able to get business opportunities with the county.
So one other question now, are we looking at mirroring other programs such as the DeKalb County LSBE, where as any prime pretty much that wants to do business with the DeKalb County, they have to use the LSBE? Is it going to be a mandate like that? Or, and I'm assuming that you don't know, but are you looking at other counties to see how they're handling these type of programs?
Yes, so essentially the recommendations that we do give at the end of the study, they're going to be based off of what we found that were statistically significant throughout the disparity studies process. So essentially what we're going to recommend the county does is going to be, to make sure that it's tailored towards those disparities and those groups who are seeing barriers within the county. Also, though, we do take in mind and we look at other best practices that other jurisdictions that are using to also help us inform the recommendations and what could be great as a model for Gwinnett County. So we do take into consideration those certain other recommendations or those certain programs that are already established by other jurisdictions that could be beneficial for Gwinnett County. So yeah, we do take that into consideration. And if there are any other suggestions that you may have, you can also talk about that on the call. Or if there's something that you have experienced with the county that you didn't like, you could talk about that, or is it something that you love? We are accepting positive and negative feedback or areas of concern for you. So if there's something that that you want the county to do based off of what you've seen for other jurisdictions, you can also speak to that.
And the third thing, one other thing, sorry, I don't do business in in Gwinnett, and just was wondering, how did my name get into this pool? Are you looking at across the different counties? Are you focused on Gwinnett? So
Yeah,
I'm in DeKalb County.
yeah. So so the call in terms of the outreach that we're doing for these studies, we're looking at all of those areas surrounding Gwinnett, and also like within the relevant market of Gwinnett. And I believe that DeKalb and all the certain counties, they do fall within underneath that relevant market that we're looking at. But we make sure that we're outreaching to all of the firms that are within this relevant market, and then that are also in the other surrounding counties, to making sure that we're reaching out to as many people who would like to do contracts with the county as well. And then if you're a certified business, we do consider you, and if you have been registered to do business either with the state or with the surrounding county, we do consider you as an available business that could be, possibly that might be interested in doing business with the county. So that is another reason why you may have received those
Right.
notifications.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, excuse me. I would like to say that this Gwinnett County disparity study should definitely be focused on businesses who are located within Gwinnett County. As far as the surrounding areas that are serving constituents or members of Gwinnett County, yeah, but that should be a second priority. One thing I do want to put into the mix now that you all are here is that one of the biggest problems with the disparity in Gwinnett County as far as businesses is the Gwinnett County Chamber of Commerce, the white run Chamber of Commerce that has totally dismissed many of the Black businesses in Gwinnett County. Their programming does not speak to the needs and issues. Those of us who have been members of that white organization in the past know that their programming does not address any of the issues pertaining to African American and Black businesses. And I do know that that organization is detrimental to equality as far as non-white businesses in Gwinnett County.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers.
And I want to piggyback off of what she said. So, so when you get certified with DeKalb County as an LSBE, it really covers certain counties that you can do business in, right? So, and I'm assuming that that's the same with Gwinnett. If you do business in Gwinnett, if you establish your business in Gwinnett or get your whatever certification that you have there, it does span across the other counties, whereas you do have an opportunity to win opportunities, right? So, but one of the things that I would like to bring to the table, because I am an LSB with DeKalb and have been for some time, I do like their program because, again, if you bid on a project with DeKalb County, it is beneficial for you to do an LSBE because they're on a point system, and to get the highest points to get the bid, you have to have an LSBE. So for them to have some type of mechanism in place to ensure that minorities or women-owned business, minority business, et cetera, get a part of that RFP, they have to use that. So, and that's the question why I asked earlier, do you mirror or look at other counties to see how their program is working? And maybe that could be something that's implemented there. Because for me, at this point in junction, I don't want to really do business with any county that does not offer a program like that, because the likelihood of you getting a project is slim to none. So it's also, it's just pretty much should be sort of a mandate in order to, to do business in those counties to make sure that minorities are getting their fair share.
Thank you, Ms. Reynolds, for your comment. And what is your business, Ms. Reynolds? I don't think I caught your business.
My business is called Optimizing Business Solutions, and I focus on management consulting services and also IT services. And just to give you an example, over the last couple of months, I won $3.5 million contract with DeKalb County, right? Because I am a part of the LSBE, and they have to, again, partner with an LSBE to get projects. And most of my projects, that's how I've gotten them through DeKalb County, is through that program. So my focus, is to really, focus on counties that have that type of program put in place in order for me to at least it'd be a competitive bid, right? In some cases, not a competitive bid.
So is that a program that's in Gwinnett County?
No, it is not a program in Gwinnett County. It is, and I don't know if the DeKalb County.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let me just, because
Okay.
I have many other things to move on to, and I
Yeah.
appreciate the commentary about DeKalb County. But this conversation is about Gwinnett County. Am I correct? Are we talking about Gwinnett
But
County?
Miss Moses, we are, but at the same time, Miss Reynolds, she was talking about a suggestion that she likes in DeKalb County that she would like other counties to model. So
Okay, that would be great. That's something that we
Yeah,
can
and-
look at in the future.
Yeah.
But I'm speaking about the disparity in Gwinnett County. I thought what this meeting was about. And if she has suggestions as to initiatives that are working well in DeKalb County, that's fine. She can send an email to you. But as far as Gwinnett County and the disparity in Gwinnett County, if we're done discussing that, and you're gonna have the conversation about what's going on in DeKalb County, I'm gonna get off the call. I'm done with that. And if it's something that she want to provide about DeKalb County, that's great. I would love to hear about it. But as far as us and the disparity of Gwinnett County, I thought that's what this discussion was. And I would, if we're gonna stay focused on that or moving on to others, fine. I'm just gonna hop on off the call. And thank you, Miss Reynolds. And I was married to a Reynolds, so we might even be
No,
we may even be cousins.
and I'm
But
not.
I'm not interested in what's
Yeah.
going on in DeKalb County. I'm concerned with the disparity that's going on in Gwinnett County. I'm gonna lead the conversation. And very nice meeting everybody. I have put my information in chat. If you would like to reach out to the Gwinnett County Black Chamber of Commerce, please feel free to do that. But I'm out as far as that. And thank you, young lady, for hosting this conversation.
Before you leave, ma'am, before you leave.
It's been really good. And you all have a good evening. Thank you, Miss Bond. But I am out.
Now, before you leave, where does the Gwinnett Black Chamber meet? Because this is the first time I'm hearing about it.
You can go to our website at blackchambergwinnett.com. Actually, we have a meeting tomorrow, and we're meeting in Duluth from 6 to 8 at the Serbia Living African Restaurant. That is, she's a VP of our chamber. We meet there. We have a taste of Black Gwinnett and Gwinnett County Black Business Expo is December 13th in Norcross, Georgia. And, I regulate a number of nonprofits and for-profits. I'm only interested in building a strong, thriving Black business ecosystem in Gwinnett County. That's the only thing I'm interested in on being on this call. So if you all want to participate with us, because we are rocking and rolling and making great strides. We appreciate this disparity initiative because that's the reason we started our chamber, is because of the disparity in Gwinnett County.
Can you take my email down and send me where you're going to be tomorrow, and I'll definitely be there?
I got you, Connie. Look, I got you. And yes. Okay. What's your email address? You can put it in chat. I'm not trying to disrupt the conversation.
No, I can't. I'm on my phone, so I can't type it.
What's your email address?
It's veterans, veterans 1415 @gmail.com.
I'm sending you an email right now. And I thank you for that energy. And the rest of us who own Black-owned businesses, you got to speak up and stand strong on what we're doing in Gwinnett County. We know how these different initiatives and discoveries, it's all to bring in data, but we're looking for action
Okay.
on
Okay,
how to,
Miss
promote,
Moses,
yeah,
Miss
to get this
Moses,
done. So
Miss
I'm
Moses,
done. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so I would like to formally apologize to those on the call who have not gotten a chance to speak. I do want to take the time to say everyone's comments in this chat and this call is welcome. We are Griffin and Strong. We are here to provide a platform for everyone on this call to speak and give their feedback about things that they would like the county to do, or any other suggestions or any feedback that you have. So Griffin and Strong, we do not want to limit anyone's comments or create a space to where anyone feels like that they can't speak. So with on that note, is there anyone else that would like to speak? If not, I do want to take the time to just end this call, since it has gotten a little derailed. So if anyone has any other further comments, and we also are also 30 minutes after the time, so we are a little bit past our time. So if there's anyone who did not get a chance to speak yet, please feel forward to come at this time as I wrap up. If not, then I would like to end the session.
And I would like to say some apologies. I did not mean to derail the conversation. That was not my intention, but I was just, like I said, mirroring as you're doing your disparity search and thinking about recommendations, just look at some of what the other counties are doing. And that's typically what we do, is look at what other counties are doing, so that we
Right.
can make sure that we're doing the best thing for the county.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you so much. And I want to apologize on behalf of that, because that's not what Griffin and Strong does. We do take all comments. So I do apologize for that.
Not offended at all. Some of these subjects get a little bit touchy, so not offended at all. Not at all.
Yes,
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Question I have. How would Griffin and Strong, in the diversification of giving it to Gwinnett County, how can you take politics out of all of these RFPs or out of the system, the procurement system? Because I've been listening without commenting, and I've come across those politics when it comes to RFPs and RFQs. I'm a survey disabled veteran-owned company, women-owned, all the certification you can think of. But when it comes to being chosen, you're being cooked to the side. And somebody else who doesn't have the requirement that they're asking for is given in the job. How do you get that cleaned up?
Yeah, well, that is the purpose of our disparity studies, is to ensure that we know whatever that we're finding that is a barrier to businesses from getting them inside of getting their foot in the door. The recommendations that we intend to make at the very end of the disparity study process is to ensure that they apply towards those certain barriers and they mitigate those concerns there. Because we do know that in terms when it comes to the procurement process, it is a political game. And which is, of course, that's why it's very important for the stakeholders, for the business owners and those to ensure that they are engaged with the those officers and those leaders that are in office, and making sure that you are holding them accountable. Because at the end of this disparity study, it will be up to the county to enforce those recommendations, but it will also be up to the community to make sure that the county is held accountable so that they can enforce and implement those recommendations.
But I do have a question too, and I know that DeKalb County is the focus, but in order to get your business thriving the way they do, would have to be strived anyway, you really would have to connect with several different counties. So Gwinnett is one county that you want to focus on, but I think you want to expand it to other counties as well. So it's a thought.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So again, we are after our time, so I do want to go ahead and just wrap up. Before we do get off the call, I do just want to share a couple of couple of things with you all. First off, just to connect with us here at Griffin and Strong. Sorry. To connect with us at Griffin and Strong, please go through our Facebook, our LinkedIn profile, or our website. We do also have our designated study emails to submit any comments if you do not feel comfortable talking on a public platform. And if you also did not get to submit a comment tonight, please go to this email to submit any comments. And also check out our website at GwinnettCountyDisparityStudy.com to keep up with the study. And then again, our survey of business owners is live right now, so please take the time to take a picture of this QR code or the registration link and please fill out our survey. It is a 10 to 15 minute survey, but you are entered in a chance to win a $100 gift card. So please take advantage of these resources that we do have. And I would like to wrap up the call now. So again, thank you all again for your time. I do apologize for us going over. But if you all have any more questions, feel free to email that study email. And thank you all so much and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.